Well, the time is just gone 9 minutes past 8 a.m. as we kick off this morning, and we're going across to the United States of America to be joined by Washington based human rights activist and also advocate and director of operations for the Aafia Foundation, El-Hajj Mauri Saalakhan. Brother Mauri, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wonderful that you're able to join us as always. Jazakallah khairan. I know it's quite late your time in the United States of America, but alhamdulillah, you are able to join us. And we want to talk about this 51-year-old man who has been arrested. He's been charged in connection with the recent killing of the two Muslims in New Mexico. What do we know about this case? What do we know about the killings?
What we know is that he has been charged with, I believe, two of the slayings, and he was arrested. Uh, Allegedly, there were firearms that were found. Not only was he driving the vehicle that was identified as a vehicle of suspicion, a vehicle that many believe was tied to at least one of the slayings, but also there were weapons that were recovered that were definitively, according to the reports I read, tied to at least one of the slayings. That's about all that we know. With the additional piece of information being that he is an Afghan immigrant who has been in the United States for a number of years, and he reportedly attended the same masjid that the other victims who have been slain over the past few months attended. I'm not going to say his name because, unfortunately, his name means worthy of praise, and what he has been accused of is far from it.
Yes, in fact, we are also led to believe that there have been interpersonal relationships that could have possibly led to the shooting and the killing of the two men. Can that be confirmed?
Well, I understand I understand that this is also the case as well. Um, from what I read, one of the things may have been, which may have been the trigger that set all of this off, is that his daughter either married or was about to marry a member of the Shia community, and this is something that enraged him, according to the one of the reports that I read. Yeah, this is, subhanallah, it appears to be a sectarian mess, and it's something that has the community alarmed, and for good reason. But yeah, it truly is a mess, my brother,
Well, it
and it's a
certainly
wake
is
up
a mess
call.
because this is exactly what we've been reading into the situation as well, where we've learned even that police are actually saying and they are exploring that sectarian problem, and the rumors have it that there have been Shia and Sunni tensions that may have led to his actions in killing these two men.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well, and it's sad. It's, you know, reading. I've been reading a number of reports, and one of the things that has kind of stood out for me on a more positive side is that um, all of these individuals were tied to what has been identified as the largest center, the largest Islamic center in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in that part of New Mexico, in Albuquerque. And my understanding is that Sunni and Shia worshipped together, in this large center. And so, on one side we have something that you don't find a lot in major cities uh, in America, much less in other parts of the world, where you have a significant number of Shia and Sunni working, worshiping side by side in the same center. So on one hand, we have this positive, and then on the other, you have this sectarian negative, which resulted in the deaths of uh, four men, four Muslim men, at the hands of a individual who was self-identified as a fellow Muslim, although his actions, if he in fact is the one responsible, in fact, is as far removed from Islam as the East is from the West. I want to be very clear about this.
Well, what you're saying is extremely important because, when we look at it also here in South Africa and we're looking at our neighboring countries like Mozambique as well, and obviously it is unusual where we have both communities attending the same mosque, praying together because we know that the divide is there. The debate continues, and we see it on a day to day basis as far as the Sunni Shia debate that goes on, and particularly when it comes to an institution like marriage, for instance. And we see it over and over again where these type of problems. And not very long ago, I heard of a case as well where there was this major issue that between the two communities as a result of people getting married, between the Sunni and Shia. So, this is something that is an ongoing problem. The key issue is, how does one actually manage this problem? And here we see now tragedy where, as you mentioned, that you don't want to mention the name, but the father possibly, just wouldn't want to, and possibly the daughter may have insisted. And this is a type of problem. This is a type of societal problem and social problems that come up from time to time, Al-Hajj Mauri.
Indeed, they do. In fact, I remember hearing about a case out of the UK where a murder took place, a homicide took place as a result of this same type of scenario. A daughter marrying into the into a Shia family, if I remember correctly, a Sunni daughter marrying into a Shia family. This is it is truly sad, and it is something that reveals the need for intra faith dialogue and um, uh, repair. I mean, we are a community. I don't know about how this is in South Africa, but this, we in the United States of America, we have many pockets of Muslims um, that take a lot of pride in interfaith dialogue, in interfaith communications, and striving to identify common ground between us and the members of other faith. We have a lot of that goes on in America. We have much less intra-faith dialogue and cooperation taking place between Muslims. And this is very sad because at the end of the day, we have far more in common. Sunni and Shia have far more in common than we have differences. And we really need to engage in more work around the threads of commonality that we have, so that this type of scandalous uh, behavior doesn't take place. We need more intra-faith dialogue.
Well, is this just not indicative of the global problem that we are faced with? And, I don't want to just limit this to a Sunni Shia divide, but in many other matters, as Muslims, even Sunni
Right.
versus Sunni as well. And this is something that we, as a Muslim Ummah, need to be thinking about very, very carefully because, it's simplistically sometimes when one looks at even global developments that are taking place when one looks at Muslim nations in particular. And it's so easy to find an excuse and call it a sectarian divide where there may be many other issues that are playing out in the background. There may be other agendas that are playing out as well, Al Hajj Mauri.
Absolutely. You know something, brother? One of the other, a little piece of history also came to mind for me after the individual identified as being the most likely person responsible for these deaths occurred. My mind went back to a body of uh, information I came across many years ago. Had to do with the late Imam Hassan al-Banna, the principal founder of the Ikhwan al-Muslimun. I remember reading years ago how he and a number of other very prominent Muslims from different madhabs, including Shia, back in the day, way back in the day, they began this, they established an organization whose purpose it was to bridge the, um, the sectarian gaps between the many different madhabs within the Sunni fold as well as between Sunni and Shia. And they made a tremendous amount of progress uh, across those lines. And I have no doubt. In fact, I'm going to be going back, looking back into my files from years ago to see if I can pull this back up and share it. I have no doubt that this factored into the assassination of Imam Hassan al-Banna, rahmatullah alayh, uh, because it posed a threat to the decadent powers that be back in the day. This kind of thing, it does nothing more than serve the interests of our enemies at the end of the day.
Exactly. And I think, what you're saying is absolutely important, what is critical. And we've even seen after the fall of the Khilafah, the creation of nation states and how that has actually created the divide within the Muslim Ummah. You are Iraqi, you are Jordanian, you are Tunisian, you are Algerian, you are Moroccan. And this obviously has now filtered down to the extent where we look at each other differently because we are citizens of a different nation or a different nation state.
That's right. That's what the breakup of these different nation states was all about. It was about divide and continue to rule, divide and rule, and we are we forget, in the wake of this hyper nationalism, this hyper tribalism, we forget that the call, the requirement for us as Muslims is to recognize the fact that we are one ummah.
Well, inshallah, we continue making dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite us as a Muslim ummah, unite our hearts. And
And
like you mentioned, is there's just so much we have in common. And let us focus on what we have in common. Let us focus on the common challenges that we as a Muslim ummah are faced with, Al-Hajj Mauri. But for now, Jazakallah khairan so much, as always, for your time with us here on Salam Media. We wish you well. And also at this hour, taking time out and talking to us right here on Salam Media this morning. Allah keep you safe, inshallah, and Allah accept all the wonderful work, all your efforts that I know you've been striving, you've been working extremely hard for the benefit of the Muslim Ummah. We wish you well, my brother. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
thank you, Brother Inayat. This has been my pleasure. Walaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Al-Hajj Mauri Saalakhan with us this morning on the in the aftermath of the shooting in Albuquerque out in New Mexico, where a Muslim man, had basically killed two people, and rumors have it that this could possibly be as a result of Shia Sunni tensions. We're going to go for a quick break. We come back. We're going to unpack the Kenyan elections.